Greetings, Mindcrafters, and welcome to another exciting discussion, Minecraft discussion. And here comes the wind. Sometimes I say I'm sorry for the wind, but I can't apologize for the wind, right? So my name is Kimberly Quinn. There's Giovanni over there. The ticks are bad this year, let me just tell you. I mean, I suppose the ticks have a right to be out here too, but yeah, last year I didn't see one. Like, not one. It's just weird. Now they're everywhere, so gotta give them. Just gotta get the collars. Gotta get the pills. Like, wow, because they're so gross. I think you could actually take a tick. If you ever see under a microscope, they're really. You could do a sci-fi movie out of a tick. They have like a million heads, and there's just ugh. Anyway, so the topic today is the 3-to-1 ratio, which could really be talked about as a 5-to-1 ratio. We're going to talk about that, of positive thoughts to negative thoughts. So this is kind of a little tip or trick. I love doing these occasionally with Minecraft because sometimes it involves a more thorough discussion, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, like when I talk about vagus nerve, little tips and tricks for my students, your eyelids, we'll do those another day. Right here, and like sometimes this little stuff can help you, get through the day. If you're just having, an anxious moment or whatever. And sometimes it's like deeper, more thorough, whatever. But sometimes it's really not. Doesn't have to be. So today's one of those days. So there's something. Barbara Fredrickson first figured it out, the 3-to-1 ratio, and then later that became the 5-to-1 ratio. So first, what we need to say is, we're talking about positive thoughts to negative thoughts, is that we are very naturally prone to negative thinking, even the most positive of us, because it's super primal, right? It's very primitive. And so, way back when, this is fun. These pencils are everywhere because the beavers, actually right behind me, it's probably too far in the distance for you to see that way back there. But anyway, they're busy, and hence busy beavers, I suppose, right? Way back in the Paleolithic, and that's going to be the end of my Jurassic Park talk, because Jurassic period, there we go. Way back when large reptiles were roaming the earth trying to eat Neanderthals and Robustus and Australopithecus. Look at that 6th grade knowledge just rolling out, huh? All the various forms of people kind, right? Then they were circling around, raptors, running fast raptors trying to eat us, and pterodactyls swooping in to get a good taste. We were ducking into caves, like in a panic, as we should have been, because they had the leverage, like they say in golf, right? They had like the lower handicap, so we were kind of at the mercy of the negative survival thoughts, perceived as negative. Really depends on you look at that, I guess, because they're keeping you alive. I'm not sure how negative that is, but anyway, the constant looking for threats is what we're talking about. Now, fast forward to 2023, and that pterodactyl's circling around, or the saber-toothed tiger. God, this is gorgeous. Saber-toothed tiger, or the T-Rex, and that potential threat isn't different than, oh my God, I didn't see those 5 emails. One of them was my boss, and I forgot to answer it. It all has the same, like DEFCON 4 thing going on. And that's because of the limbic system. The amygdala flips on the threat circuit and all that and gets it all going. Or, obviously if we're about to be assaulted, then we want the threat circuit, because that keeps the senses all jack up and we become hypervigilant. We can see better, hear better, all of it better. So that we want that. But not so much, wow, breathtaking. Not so much when we're sitting on the couch with our husband, wife, partner, kids, or by ourselves, all safe, fire's going. Maybe on a day like today, it's beautiful and not cold. But sitting on the couch and reading a book and comfy and all that, or on the back deck with a lemonade, and there is no threat, yet we're creating one because we're allowing our mind to go to dark places that, unfavorable memories and threatening memories and things like that. The brain does not know the difference. The brain does not know the difference. So we know from Minecraft, right? Thoughts come first, feelings come second. And then actions or behaviors are obviously last. So we cannot feel fear unless we're thinking fearful thoughts first. We cannot feel anxious unless we're thinking anxious thoughts first. And so we need to talk about how quickly that happens, right? Because, especially when thoughts are automatic. They're super fast, and we can pretty quickly feel nervous, anxious, fear-based, whatever you want to fill in the blank with it. Shame, regret, grief. These are always the negative ones. Positive ones, I'm not saying, because we don't generally need a lot of help, navigating through all the positive thoughts. It's the negative ones that steal our life minutes, that plague our day, just intrude, like sneak attack, like in the army or something. Like there's snipers, they just kind of like thought ambush. And so we're talking about that today. And so Barbara Fredrickson came up. She has a website. I just looked at it this morning. She's been known for this for a while. So research based, and then people took it farther. But her whole thing was feelings. And so for every one negative emotional experience, you get that wave of shame. I've been beating that off for years. I'm very much mastered it definitely compared to early days. I think it's a recovery situation. Recovery, not recovered. Kind of like they say in the 12-step programs. You're not really ever done. You kind of just got to stay on top of it. And it definitely gets way easier. Certainly being in my late 50s now, that's what I have to say, because I'm a fabulous 58. In the late fall of my life is not the same as when, I'm in my 20s battling those demons. It's so much easier. They don't come up that often. When they do, I'm like, oh, okay, higher ground. So when we have a wave of shame, wave of fear, wave of anxiety, wave of anger, a wave of grief, wave of whatever it is that's going on, regret, it's very important we're not saying, I do a disclaimer here, we're not saying, because to feel is to heal, we're not encouraging toxic positivity, which is to shove feelings down and not acknowledge them, not at all. We always want to process what we're feeling, but we don't want to reside there. Definitely don't want to reside there. So process, close the chapter, shift out of it, because remember that the thoughts we allow to linger, they get excited about that. The more you repeat them, they become patterns, and they become habits, and we can actually become addicted to shame, actually, and addicted to anxiety, and addicted to, ruminating depression thoughts. We can become addicted to all that when we just allow it to go. It can be actually manifest in the body, which is all kinds of diseases come out of that. And Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this, and he actually defines addiction. I think he's specifically talking about emotions, but no, it would work for substances too. When the body no longer needs the mind's direction. Like the body's like, I got this, okay? Well, let's say it's with alcohol. I got this. I don't need you to tell me to love this, because the receptors are all like, where is it? Dopamine, let's go. And it's also true with emotions. So we get addicted to shame. Let's see, like, I know how to feel defective and flawed. I don't need you to tell me that anymore. I'll just keep seeking it out and seeking it out and seeking it out and seeking it out, and just reinforce. I'll be attracted to people who are also feeling shame-based, and that will reinforce everything, and we'll just be going strong, okay? So it can be a very uphill battle, but we can still do it. Absolutely can still do it. So here's the thing with Barbara Fredrickson, is she says for every one of those waves of shame, or let's say it's a current experience that just brought something up. It was like this morning. That was, something involved a loss, something involved a, bad thing that just made you feel horrible. We need to have 3 positive emotional experiences to pull us out of that. And that's because we're wired for that whole thing I just told you. And so what we can do is think about some fabulous feel-good memory. It doesn't have to be like you have to, 1, 2, 3, and like it's a big race. No, in fact, it's the opposite. You want to really go someplace quiet. If you're out in the world, you're at work, or whatever, duck into a bathroom. That's always my thing. Who's going to bother you in the stall? No one, hopefully, right? And if you have to really get grounded and think about spending time with your partner or your kids, or think of a memory when I'm thinking about way back when it's a default I use. I got a really nice, very cool award at Champlain about 5 years ago, and I was surprised, and having that many people just so happy for me, it was just, I can't even, it just warms up my whole spirit when I think about it. And so I usually save that one because it's kind of like the big guns. But you can think of something, huge or small or whatever, but then allow that good feeling back in. Allow it in, because that pattern that we're trying to get to repeat, so the brain gets, okay, wait a minute, we're feeling good now. I know what this is. I recognize this. And really breathe, deep breaths. make sure all the phones and all that crap are off, and really, really focus. Little meditative 5 minutes, even 1 minute. 1 minute's better than no minutes. Duck into the bathroom. And then a little while later, duck back in. Another really good, positive, feel-good memory, and actually be in your body and feel it. So it takes 3 of those to combat the negative one. Now, that's the emotional, because once it got to the emotions, it's a little heavier lift, okay? Now, as far as thoughts, if you can nip it there, that's great. Oh, that isn't somebody, it's just a sign. I know Rick Hanson's talked about a lot about this. He's a neuroscience that talks about how, how does he say? Positive thoughts run through the brain like a sieve, but it's the negative ones that just really stick. I'm totally paraphrasing because I'm in the woods. But the same thing that we're talking about. Now, it's not just him that says this, so I'm doing a shout out to Rick Hanson, because I was just reading about something about him, and he's spot on accurate. I like that guy already. But it's also been said by other people. So that's the 5-to-1 ratio, which amps it up a little bit. And those folks are generally, because remember, Barbara Fredrickson's talking about the emotions. That means thoughts are first, right? Feelings and emotions is like, bigger, longer kind of situation than a fleeting feeling. So that's already kind of moved forward to that spot. That's why it takes, really sitting and thinking and feeling that good stuff. Now, just for thoughts, if they say 1-to-5 ratio, so this is if somebody just says, something dumb, at work, and they just say, or whatever, just say, you got it wrong again? Like, what's the matter? What are you doing? And it makes you just kind of sinks you for a second. That's when you duck into the bathroom and you say, okay, what are 5 things I really like about myself? I'm funny. I'm compassionate. I'm really thoughtful. I'm very caring about other people. And I'm super optimistic. Okay? That's what we're talking about, because we have to be, remember, we're the captains of our own ships. We're the gatekeeper of our own thoughts. And once we really get the thoughts, feelings, behavior thing, we hopefully are getting really selective about the thoughts we allow in, and and cherry pick the thoughts we and it's a constant thing. Like when I was saying, in recovery, we're all in recovery from something, and that's a really good. And I love the 12 steps program one-liners. I mean, we can absolutely all live by those, and I mean that when I say we're all in recovery from something. Especially if you get in, you're fortunate enough to get into middle age. I mean, you've been around the block a few times. There's no such thing as perfect. Recovery from stuff, I'm in recovery from really toxic parents, and again, I'm not saying with blame or anything. I've been past that for ages. It's just to help other people, So, and again, it's constant, because you can be like, you can picture like not like a ruler, but like 100%. You're like 90%. Like, I feel so good in my skin. I could just bust. I feel so good in my skin, and then every once in a while. That word trigger is so overused, but something will just trip your cord and it just brings you back there, Like, okay, that's just the universe or God or source with a capital S, whatever, just giving me another little quiz here, just to make sure I'm on my game. And then you do some thoughtful stuff, some affirmations. There we go. Talk to your partner, best friend, work through it, and you're still on the karma train going forward. That's how it works. So we're all works in progress. Abraham Hicks says that we're never done. Stop thinking about it. So, stop thinking about the outcome, and when I arrive here, and when I arrive with this, when I arrive with that. It's all a journey. It's always going to be a journey, depending on what your spiritual beliefs are. I mean, it is that way. We're constantly works in progress, and when we look at it that way, it kind of takes the pressure off, I'd say, and to just kind of be appreciating those breadcrumbs along the way. Just enjoy those really positive, wonderful experiences. And when we come into a negative emotional experience, negative emotions lead to negative experiences. So that's a big thing. That rolls right into Barbara Fredrickson's whole model there, because only positive emotions lead to positive experiences. So 3-to-1 ratio, just remember that. As far as strictly just thoughts, lots of research. I can't give it to any one person because lots of people have talked about it, but the 5-to-1. So 3-to-1 for Barbara Fredrickson, 5-to-1 for talking back to just thoughts. Okay, there we go. Gorgeous day, lots of beavers. I mean, they're not here. Well, they are here. They're sleeping, but they're definitely in there. You can see their work. Anyway, this is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the Notch at Northern Vermont with little G. Have a mindful day.